Quando si sceglie un'imbarcazione o un gommone,
When choosing a boat or an inflatable, we should always focus on three main aspects: the materials and methods of construction, the navigation qualities, and the experience of the builder. This Maxi rib is Marco R Evolution X36. Let's start from the first aspect. The hull and the main structure of this boat have been entirely built with the one-shot infusion method, and then, separately, the deck. The only material that is used is the vinyl ester resin, which I think is amazing. The second aspect, navigation qualities. I've already tested this inflatable, but not with this motorization. We know that weight and power play a major role on the setup and performance. However, we'll come back to this topic later on. Lastly, in regard to the experience of the shipyard, I can tell you that Marco has been building boats for 50 years now, and from one generation after another they have continued on increasing their level of quality. However, now we have to take into account some other aspects, and I want you to express your views and opinions on these. I'm talking about livability and beauty, so let's take a look. Just so you know, since these products are only made by custom order, if there was something you didn't like, you could discuss it over with the shipyard and talk about the possibility of some variations, not only in regard to changing the colour or the upholsteries, but also the layout. We know that this shipyard works in a different way, so they haven't simply mounted the engines. You let them know what speed you want to reach, and they will suggest the proper motorization. But they will also work on the hull, the hydrodynamic thrust, the stability, the position of the engines and the propellers, so that they can deliver to you the best inflatable boat for that speed and motorization. Keep in mind that I did not say perfect for maximum performance, because to run faster sometimes you have to sacrifice comfort and safety, and this does not fall within the ideas of Marco. These engines require a slightly more load-bearing stern, a specific bracket and higher tubulars. All the technical work has been carried out by leaving to the bridge its beauty and spaciousness without the visible plant. The solid side decks of the tubulars are safer than the round, compressible surface of the air chambers. They are separated from the deck structure, so when we deflate it, they fold and reduce the beam, making it easier to transport. In the living area, there is a large dining table for 6 people. It can also be used as a sun deck, so you'd better consider using a tablecloth, since it can become a walkable floor. In the kitchen cabinet, a large cutting board and the wine keeper. This model has a deck of a simple elegance, pearl grey gel coat and a synthetic floor covering with hexagonal pattern. The T-top is lightweight because it's also vacuum infused and is supported by sturdy tubular steel. Below deck, a changing room with toilet. The cushions are thick, and under the closed cell structure, which doesn't absorb humidity, there are 2 centimeters of soft level. The finishes are typical of a luxury boat, certainly not the ones you would see on an inflatable boat.
At the command of
the Marco R Evolution X36 with 2 600 horsepower engines.
In Francia ho 2 display da 12 pollici.
On the bridge I have 2 12-inch displays and Mercury Marine's vessel view, along with the joystick, easy to maneuver with such big engines. We also have a nice subwoofer, 8 speakers and a 1,300 watt audio amplification. But the only sound I want to hear now is the roar of these V24s. We are in front of the city of Genoa,
Mare molto mosso.
And the sea is very rough. There is a long wave, but it's very high.
Questi motori al minimo
At their minimum, you don't even notice the engines are working because they are really silent. And even when you gear up and bring it into plane, the only sound you hear is that of the water flowing right beside me.
Che scorre qui, proprio accanto a me.
With the thrust of 4 propellers, there's no problem getting it in trim at any speed.
In assetto a qualsiasi velocità. Siamo a 2600.
We're at 2,600 RPM and already at 20 knots.
Anche se con un gommone del genere non andrete mai a una
Even on an inflatable like this, you won't ever go at normal speed. I want you to know that at 25 knots, which is the classical cruising speed, we are consuming 75 litres per hour. This means that 3 litres per mile are needed. I have to say, I was expecting a higher consumption. It's amazing. As soon as I push the throttle forward, these engines push the inflatable forward without any delay.
Senza ritardo. Non vi ho ancora detto.
I haven't told you yet that this hull has no spray rails nor steps. How come? Well, let me stop talking and allow you to listen. Can you hear that? Can you hear and perceive the smoothness with which it passes over and through the waves? If you can shape the hull so that you don't need neither spray rails nor steps, well, then you've created a magnificent hull. Maybe not the fastest one out there, but look how it navigates well. Okay, perhaps the spray rails might be useful while veering, but no. This inflatable veers just fine. So maybe the spray rails could give more stability, but does it look like it doesn't have stability? We pass over the waves easily because the dihedral angle at the stern is 24 degrees. We'll be able to go full throttle even through this rough sea. Nick, are you up for it? He said yes. It jiggles a little sometimes, but listen carefully when I land and tell you if you can hear any impact. This one is a high one. Listen carefully. It's wonderful. What a boat.
Che scafo! Velocità massima registrata 60.
Maximum speed recorded 62.2 knots.
Ancora una cosa che non vi ho detto, una caratteristica che non ho affrontato nella descrizione di questo.
There's still one thing I haven't told you, a feature that I didn't mention while talking about this Marco R Evolution X36, and that is the price. What car do you drive? Do you think all brands have the same value?